Hi guys, welcome and welcome back to the channel. If this is your first time being here, thank you so much for stopping by and thank you for clicking on this video. This is a part 1 of a part 2 video I will be showing you how to do. Now, the project that we will be working with in this video is this beautiful rhinestone shirt. I'll be showing you how to do this beautiful rhinestone shirt in Silhouette Studio. Now, I got the free SVG file on design bundles, and I decided that I would convert the SVG file to a rhinestone template. So in this section of the video, or in this part of the video, I'm going to show you how you could convert an SVG file to a rhinestone template. Now for this project, you will need the business edition of Silhouette Studio. You're also going to need Cricut Design Space because we're going to use Cricut Design Space to upload it so that we could cut it and press it onto our shirt. Now, if that is something you're interested in, do keep on watching. Okay, we are in Silhouette Studios Business Edition. The first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to go over here where you see this little folder. It's for the open tab. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to search for the flower that I am going to use in this design. Okay, and the one that I'm using is this one. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to first select all the layers of the flower because now this has about 4 layers, and I am going to size it to the size that I need. I'm going for something around maybe 10.5 inches. This is fine. Okay. And the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to right click and I'm going to duplicate this flower. And I'm going to put the duplicated one over to the side. Okay. The next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and select all the layers again. And I'm gonna go over here to my modify panel and I'm gonna open it. Over here where you see this square and this circle intersecting, that's where the modify panel is. And what I'm gonna do, I'm going to go to subtract all. The reason why I'm subtracting all is because if if I should take this apart, you see that there are layers behind each other, especially this one right here on the top. Okay, so let me undo. Okay, and I'm going to select everything again and I'm going to subtract all. Now what this does is that it will, especially this pink layer here, this layer here would be subtracted out of the pink one. Okay, so let me show you what it looks like. Okay, so now you see that this all this is being subtracted out. See that? Now I'm going to press undo. Alright, now if I should go ahead and apply my rhinestones to this flower right here, what you're going to find is that they are still going to be touching each other, and I don't want that. Hey guys, so now that I took out the layers, what I'm going to do is, let me undo it so that it goes in the proper place. What I'm going to do is that I'm going to click on the pink layer right here. Okay, and I know that the pink layer is selected because up here it's showing me the color. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to go over here where you see the star, which is the offset panel. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to create an inset.
The reason why I'm creating an inset is because when I add the rhinestones to the green layer, I don't want the stones to be touching the pink layer. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna create inset. Right now it's giving me 0.1, 0.013. I'm gonna put it to 0.125, okay? And I am going to press apply. Okay, and that is okay. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this outer layer away, okay? And I'm going to leave the layer, the inset layer, okay? What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna change the inset layer to the color, this color right here. So I'm gonna take my dropper right here and I'm gonna select that and I change the color. So this I don't need anymore. So I'm gonna take this away. And what I'm going to do, I am going to select this pink layer right here. And I'm also going to apply an offset to this one. So I'm gonna click offset and I'm going to press apply. Okay. Now I'm going to take this away for a little bit. This one right here, I'm gonna take the line off. I should have told you that. I'm gonna take the line off. And this one right here, I am going to, you know that it's selected, it's showing no color here. I'm going to take the line off this one and I am going to, the layer selected, let me change the color because I don't want to confuse. I'm going to put it to yellow. Okay, so the yellow layer is selected and what I'm going to press, I'm going to press shift and I'm going to select my pink layer. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to come over here and I'm going to subtract all. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to select this yellow layer and I'm going to delete it. Then I'm going to take this one and I'm going to put it back on top of it, like right here. Okay. Okay, so the only layer that we have left is this yellow piece. I'm going to change it to black. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to add an offset. I'm going to go over here, open my offset, and I'm going to add an offset. Okay, so now the offset is selected. I'm going to go over here. I'm going to change the color so that you see what I'm doing. Change it to red. I'm going to press shift and I'm going to select my pink layer and I'm going to go over here to the modify panel and I'm going to subtract it out. Okay, now when I do that, I'm going to take the line off that layer and what I'm going to do, I'm going to delete that layer. Okay, so now everything has its own area and then I'm going to show you now how to apply the rhinestones to this. Okay guys, so now that we have finished created our insets and offsets on the different layers, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and apply our rhinestones to the different areas. Now to apply your rhinestones, you're going to go over here where it says panels and you're going to scroll all the way down until you see rhinestones. Sometimes it is on the right panel area, right, you where you see this little gem looking icon. Okay, so what we're going to do, the first layer I'm going to work with is the green layer. And I'm going to take this up a little bit more because I want you to see what I am doing. So I'm going to work on the green layer. Okay. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to click on that green layer. I know that my green layer is selected because over here the color turns green. And you have the different effects that you could use. You could use the outline, just using the outline. You could do the linear fill, which fills it up pretty nicely. Let's see how the radial fill looks. Now, the radial fill fills it up, in my opinion, a little bit better than the linear fill because it gets all around the curve. Linear fill is usually used when you're dealing with lines, maybe straight fronts or something like that. But the radial fill is used when you're working with circles. In this case, this petal, the leaves around the petal, it is curved, so it gives you a more rounded look than the linear fill. You will also notice that here you'll have some little space that you can add rhinestones to. You could fill them up, or you could go ahead and go over here where it says rhinestone spacing, and you could change the spacing to make it a little bit closer to each other. So I'm going to change my spacing to 0.030. Now let's see how it looks with that spacing. And I like it much better with that spacing, so I'm going to use that one. So I'm good with this. I don't think I need to add any more rhinestones to this. Maybe somewhere here need maybe one or two, but we'll see later on if we want to do that. The next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to click on the purple layer. Again, if you go over here, you see the layer that is selected, and I'm going to add my rhinestones. If you add the linear fill, fills it up pretty nice, but I believe that the radial fill, seeing that this is circled, now look at this. You notice right here at this curved area, it doesn't fill it up at all. But when you do the radial fill, it goes well with the shape itself, and I like the radial fill. Now, the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to change this color using the other layer now. I'm going to change the color from this pink to a different color. So to do that, you go over here where you see the pink showing, and I'm gonna click the drop down menu, and I'm gonna change it to black. Let me change it to another, maybe blue. Okay, I'm gonna change it to blue. The reason why I change it to blue is because I want you to see exactly what is happening here, and I think the pink was too light for you to see what is happening. Now I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna change it to my rhinestones. You could do the outer section like this, which looks pretty nice to be honest. But I'm gonna do the radial fill, and I think that looks really nice. I'm gonna go to the red, and I'm going to use my, since it's a circle, I'm gonna use my radial fill to fill that part. Now I'm gonna zoom up a little bit, and I'm gonna show you what is happening here. If you notice, you'll notice that some of the stones, even though we did offsets, especially on this area right here, the red and the blue area, there are a lot of blue stones under the red stones. So what I am going to do is I'll have to fix those. And most of these stones are overlapping in the around the blue area. So I'm gonna ungroup, I'm gonna take this down. I'm going to ungroup my blue, and I am going to move the stones that are around the red layer, and then shift over some of the stones that are touching on the purple. To do that, you're going to click on the blue layer. I know that my blue layer is selected because it's showing blue here, and I'm going to go over here where it says release rhinestones, and I'm going to release those rhinestones. Now, when you release the rhinestones, you're going to see that each of these blue layers have a little box around it. It's just telling you that all those rhinestones have been released and you can now move them around. So the first thing I'm going to do, I am going to delete the stones that are on my red layer. Okay, so I'm going to click off and I'm just going to go ahead and click on them, delete, click, delete. Because I actually don't want those stones. You'll need to be careful with this because when you go ahead and cut this template, what you're gonna find is that stones will be sitting on top of each other and you don't want that, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and delete the stones that are on there. Let me go ahead and move this a little bit and I'm gonna delete. Especially the stones that are touching, ensure that you get those. Like this one, I think I'm going to delete that one because I don't want it touching each other. I'm going to move this one over a bit. Okay, that's okay. I'm going to delete this one. It's too close. And I'm going to take this one over a bit. Let me undo. Let me see if I could work around this one. Okay, it's not really touching. So this one is too close. So let me bring that over a bit. So all the stones that are touching, you're gonna go over and move them over. Okay? So I'm gonna do that, then I'll tell you what to do next. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna go ahead and remove all the stones from each other and put stones at areas that I'm supposed to put them, and then I'll show you how to make it into a compound path. Okay guys, so we went ahead and I fixed everything. I moved away some stones, I added some stones. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to make each of these in a compound path. I'm not sure what is happening with my computer, but whenever I right click to make it in a compound path, it doesn't show up. So I'm just gonna walk you through the different steps. So these are the different layers, okay? I'm gonna take it down a little bit more. And what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna highlight all the green layer and I'm going to right click and it's ask you to make into a compound path. I'm going to make it into a compound path. So when I make it into a compound path, it's gonna look like this. So what you need to do is to go back up here and you're going to change what the color to green. So I'm gonna get this dropper right here. Okay. All right. And then you're going to take off the line. So with it selected again, you're going to take off the line. Okay. Now I'm going to do the same thing for all of them. So I'm going to take away this flower because I don't need it anymore. So I'm going to delete it. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to do the same thing with this one. Maybe I shouldn't take away the flower until, all right, it doesn't matter what color it is. Okay. So I'm going to highlight it. I'm going to right click and it looks like this is already made into a compound path. So it's just saying release compound path. So I'm assuming this is another layer. Okay. It's not giving me the option to make it into a compound path. And I'm gonna do the same thing with this one. Select everything. I'm gonna right click and make into a compound path. when I make it into a compound path, I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna change the color and I'm gonna take off the line. So I'm gonna put none. So I'm gonna take it now, it goes here. And I'm gonna do the same thing for the blue layer. I'm gonna highlight everything. I'm going to right click, make it into a compound path. After I make it into a compound path, I'm gonna change back the color. I don't really know what color this is, but let me make it back pink. And I'm gonna take off the line from around it. So let me just make it something bright blue. Okay. And I'm gonna put it here because it doesn't matter what you make a color, you make a color, you'll just know that it's the stones that you're using. So this one, let me try again to make it in a compound path. It's not giving me the option. I'm not sure if it's because I did not release the stones. So this one is already grouped. So what we're gonna do now, we're gonna put it together and we're going to highlight everything, okay? And we are gonna group it, okay? Let me ungroup and just fix it. The middle is quite, oh, wait, over. All right, so let me group it together and then I'm gonna group it. Now this part is important. You're going to check to see the size that is there. So right now we have a size that is 10.919 wide and 10.511 wide. You need to know this in order to get it in Cricut Design Space. So I'm gonna write this down, okay? All right, so now that you have the correct size, you're gonna go over here where it says File, Save Selection, go down to Save Selection. You're gonna save to hard drive. So I'm going to save mine as on my desktop. I'm gonna save it to Silhouette Designs. I'm gonna save it as finished, finished, finished flower. And then I'm gonna save it as an SVG. You will have to save it as an SVG for you to get it in Cricut Design Space. So I'm gonna press OK. And I will see you in Cricut Design Space where I'll show you how to size it, how to make your cutting settings, and how you could press this design until we meet.
Hey guys, so I hope you were able to follow along with what I did. I know it can be a lot if you are a beginner, but if you have any questions, I will be happy to answer them. Just leave them into the comment section and I will get back to you with a response. Until we meet again, I'll see you in part 2. Bye.